Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, and I'm very happy to have some guests here in studio from the school district. That brings us Molly Miller, who is the communication relations specialist.
I do it all. Community relations.
Community relations, communications, all of it. Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. And you brought some guests, and these are both from VCBO Architecture. I've got Whitney Ward right next to me, and just down the way here, Vern Latham is here as well. Molly, it's great to have everybody here with us to talk about this, because I didn't even realize this was out on the slate, which I'm sure there may be some other parents who don't know.
Right, correct, and that's exactly why we're here. We need community input. It's so important for parents to be part of planning your child's future.
Indeed.
Investing 2 hours of your time in one of the community meetings, one of which is tonight, is worth 4 years of your child's education. You can help shape that, you can have ownership of it, and you know what? If you don't come and participate, I don't think you can really complain.
Exactly. No, you can't. That's a good point.
Blunt, but
yeah, and you know, you guys made the trek through the snow to get here, and in doing so, learned an important lesson that it's difficult to get here right now.
That's right. Yeah, I think it is.
And with that being said, the advantage to our viewers is you've got a note from Molly for your kids. No tardies today.
No tardies today. All tardies will be excused. And you know, parents, if you really feel safer keeping your kids home, you really have to listen to your gut, follow your judgment.
That's right.
All tardies will be excused today.
There you go. All right. Well, that's good news. Take time and be safe. We'd much rather do that for sure. All right. So an expansion of the high school. This is exciting. There are 4 different options here that people have an opportunity to come and look at, and I've always said that if you aren't part of the process, you have no right to complain. So you can make a decision here that arguably is very different between these options.
Exactly.
These are all very, very different.
And I do want to make one final point before I let the experts take over. At our first community meeting, these are the 4 options, but you really can be active in making a change. The first meeting created an option 3A that we're now moving forward with as part of the options for the community to be a part of, which is just awesome. You really have a chance to make a difference.
That's great. All right, well, let's talk with the experts. Talk to me about where some of these changes come from and what we're kind of after. What is the end goal?
Sure. So
this is option 3.
You have option 3 here. Yeah, the catalyst for this project is really looking at how we can accommodate the 9th grade in the high school. So we're bringing a whole new class of students into the high school, which means, of course, additional classrooms, but it also means additional space for physical education classes, for career and technical education, and for arts classes. So we're looking at how we can expand the new high school to accommodate the new class, and also just growing enrollment within Park City. And we've come up with 4 very different options with a steering committee that we've been working closely with that consists of community members, teachers, faculty, administration within the district. And we've, as Molly mentioned, we've come up with 4 options right now, but none of these are the be-all end-all. We have an opportunity for feedback.
Right. So where are we in this process right now? I guess that's a good question for you.
Right. One community meeting is done. We've got 2 more to go. But we have actually gone back to the office, taken this feedback. You know, it's kind of like a funnel. We've taken a lot of information in, we kind of funnel that down. We've come up working with the expansion committee for what we think are great working, functioning schemes that any of these 4 could work for the high school expansion. That's why it's so important to get the community involved, because we want to zero in on 1 or 2 of those schemes that may make more sense or that the community supports.
Well, and I imagine, you know, just at least I think about when you're building airplanes or doing anything that involves, you know, the engineering part of it. That not always are the engineers the closest to the ground. Sometimes that's where students and teachers become very important, right? Because they are there every day, right?
That's right.
And they understand the functionality of it on a level that maybe sometimes engineers may not. Would that be a fair statement?
Absolutely. And I think some of the key feedback we're looking for from the community is feedback in terms of, does the flow work well within the school? Can students access all of the spaces that they need in the time that they have between classes? They're going to know that better than we are. Looking at, of course, traffic and parking and the impact on the neighbors. We don't want to make it worse for neighbors or impact negatively parking or traffic on Kearns. And the different options have different alternatives in terms of parking configurations and access to the site. And so we've gotten some really great feedback so far, and we're hoping for more in terms of how can we minimize the impact of the growth but still accommodate the students and all the activities that go along with them.
Yeah, you start thinking about all the things we're considering here: traffic flow, student flow in the building, sports, obviously a big part of what we do here in Park City. That's amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of things to consider here.
And that's one of the largest pieces of feedback we've received is concern about traffic, which today, case in point, kind of backs up. So we are working really closely with our transportation experts in the city and the city, hand in hand, to try to make a feasible solution. That's why it is so critical for community feedback. PCHS-expansion.org. You can provide feedback on any of those options. If that seems overwhelming, email me, mmiller@pcschools.us. Tell me your thoughts. I'm definitely going to share it. We'll review it. We'll go over everything. These options are very different.
They are.
And I did want to mention, as far as physical education, we are still working with the master planning committee for the athletic facilities in general for the city. This is just to meet our basic physical education needs, but for athletics on a community level, we are still working very closely with that master planning group.
Okay, so that may mean some other changes down the road. Is that possible?
Down the road, absolutely.
Okay, very, very important. Now, once this gets done, then you get down to the nitty-gritty of the drawings and all the different things.
Right.
What's the time frame on that before we start breaking ground on things?
Well, I believe we're scheduled for the board to take a look at things in March.
I have a
And
handy little cheat sheet
Excellent.
here,
There we
which
go.
you can also
Perfect.
find on
On the
the
website.
the PCschools.us website, as well as the expansion website.
that is perfect,
So there we go, February 28th, the school board is going to discuss options and financing.
There you go.
After that, final option, March 7th.
Wow. So this is it's moving fast.
It
There's no
is.
doubt.
It is.
You want to get in on the ground level, so to speak, and have your voice heard, because there is a lot to talk about. Certainly, at least at the minimum, 4 different options. Plus, I'm sure many different little addendums and accoutrements that go with this. Where do the lockers go? Where are things at? How do our kids get around? Do we have to?
And we want to hear from students.
Yeah.
Students,
Yes.
tell
We
us
do.
what you want.
I think that's great.
Yes.
We've tried to engage the students as much as we can. In fact, they've come to our office now once. We had a workshop with the CTE program here.
What a great learning environment. Because
Absolutely.
again, that's an important part of this, the CTE facility right there. We're talking about the fact that many of these young people, that's a career field for them that they're going to go into.
Absolutely.
Architecture and engineering.
Might as well share that, right?
Yeah.
A little STEM never hurt anyone. This is
Absolutely.
terrific.
That's right.
I love it. You
Yeah.
guys are terrific. This is awesome. I want to thank VCBO Architecture for being here. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Molly, you and I have got more to talk about,
Yeah,
so you're sticking
always.
around, which is great. We're going from we're trying to get into all of it today. We're going to go from construction to food. How about that? That's coming up. But yeah, take a look at those options. Make sure you're part of the solution. Again, this first meeting is
Tonight,
Tonight?
6 to 8 p.m., Ecker Hill Middle School Library. If you can't make it tonight, February 2nd is the next meeting, 6 to 8 p.m., Park City High School Lecture Hall. Live translator, childcare available at that meeting. So please, 2 hours of investment is worth 4 years of your child's education.
That's right. Every reason to be there and no excuses not to be. So make sure you're part of it. We'll be back with more right after this.